Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing tips for Thursday the 15th of August. Well, huge price, placed horse. You would have thought backing a horse at 50s you wouldn't be disappointed when it come placed. However, when it returns 125 to 1 and comes fourth place, you're kind of kicking yourself. So pretty much guarantee that I probably had one of the lowest returns compared to most of my subscribers. So let me get into it. So it was £10 staked on Wednesday. I've worked it out to £55 returns. I've withdrawn it and I'm having a takeaway. So, positivity, way. Thank you for the kind comments in the comment section. I really appreciate it. And now I'm wobbling like anything because I'm holding it with my left hand, which is my weakest hand. And so it's, I can't remember the total stake. I think it's about, in fact, you're going to see in a minute. So, what I've had is, I've had a 10 pence each way Yankee and I've also had a 5 pence each way Yankee. The 5 pence each way Yankee, I've taken the prices. The 10 pence each way Yankee, I've left the prices, but I've also had 25 pence, I believe, each way singles. So I like the look of all these horses. However, I'm not a fan of these horses on this track. It might sound a bit daft. I would have been even more confident because Beverley can get lost in midfield, and that's the problem. But let me get into it. So I'm going to talk you through the horses. The first selection is Call Me Harswell in the 2 o'clock at Beverley. I like the look of this one purely for the fact that it's won. I don't like the fact that it's got a penalty, but we've got no choice because it's won. It's back in, I think it's a novice stakes. There are horses that are a bit more progressive than this horse, but I think this horse has ran well under penalty. It flopped at York in my opinion because it's easy to do at York. It was on softer ground. I know it won on softer ground, but maybe it was a relatively weakish race. It has ran well with the penalty since it won. I believe at Beverley it could go straight towards the front and there could be a few horses being asked questions that might under-deliver. And I think Call Me Harswell is one of the more likely horses to run to form. It's about 10 to 1 and it's only just rated behind the second favourite. However, as I said, we have got a penalty. And I hate backing horses with penalties, but I do think it's got a chance. The second selection is Qumasha, whatever that's supposed to mean, I don't know. In the 2:35 at Beverley, paying 4 places instead of 3. So when I said I fancy all 3 of these horses, the only reason why I fancy this horse is, it's like, why on earth is Charlie Johnson or Mark Johnson, it's not, I know it's not Mark Johnson, but Charlie Johnson, persevering with a horse rated, I think it's 42 or 44. It's like, come on, Charlie Johnson. So there must be something. I do like the angle, the fact that Joe Mason is on board. It's roughly about, well, it was 20s. And when I think when I put me taking the price bet on, I think it was 12. So I'm like, I think I'm being ripped off here. So I've placed the bigger Yankee, the 10p each way Yankee, and left the price because I think it's got to be bigger than that, surely. It's shown nothing so far, but I think the step up in trip has got to give it half a chance. And that's all I can say about that horse. I like the Joe Mason angle, and I like the fact that they're stepping up in distance. Is it good enough? I don't know. Hopefully it can at least run a place at a decent price. Right. Sound Reason in the 3:45 at Beverley, paying 4 places instead of 3. I've tipped this horse, I believe, the last twice. It's blowing its chance at the start. It didn't used to really blow its chance too much at the start, but it started to get a bit of a habit. Well, this horse is incredibly well handicapped. It's going to be one of those horses where it even breaks just okay and it's going to absolutely hack up. Is that day tomorrow? Hopefully. It's 6 to 1. It's probably going between 6s and 8s in my opinion. Last time I backed it, it was something like 6s and was backed into something like 9 to 4 favourite or 5 to 2 favourite and still didn't do anything. In my opinion, its last run, it was allowed to get behind. That's how I see it. And the last selection is probably the most interesting. It's Premiership in the 4:55 at Beverley, paying 5 places instead of 3. So Premiership, I backed it the last twice. One time, I believe I backed it the last time. The time before it was at Eye Catcher. That's why I backed it the time after over the same course and I think the same distance. I'm not convinced Beverley's going to suit it, although it has ran well. I think it's won at Beverley in the past, but I think this is a more competitive race than it's been competing in. But I do think it's about 16 to 1. I think 16 to 1 is too big a price, so I can't ignore it. So all the horses have got sneaks for different reasons. Sound reason, if it breaks on terms and it's on a going day, as in like they fancy it or there's some money for it, it's probably got the most obvious chance. Call Me Harswell, yeah, it's got a sniff, but it's carrying a penalty. Qumasha, it needs to start showing a bit of something. And Premiership, do they fancy it? Do they fancy it tomorrow? I think that do the connections fancy it tomorrow? If I knew that they did, I'd fancy it even more. But we need to keep the stakes nice and small, enjoy the big prices. So as I said, it's 5p each way Yankee taking the prices, 10p each way Yankee leaving the prices, and 25p each way singles. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that about 7.50, 8 quid? Somewhere around there. So that's the selections for Thursday. So give me a like or a subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the kind comments. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.